Hey team, it's Daniel again with Brazos Valley Boars and Varmits. So today I'm doing the review on the IRay Ricoh RS75 1280 thermal scope. This thing is amazing. This is mind-blowing. This is a great thermal scope. Let's just jump right into the review. So guys, the first thing that I have to bring up is the fact that this cost all of the beans. It is an $18,000 scope. Here in Texas, after tax, title, and license to walk out the door, that thing is almost $20,000. That's about double how much it's going to cost to get the next scope that would be comparable to this, which they are, but they're not comparable. But this is almost double kind of the next scope. And it is amazing, and there's going to be a question later on of, is it worth $18,000? And guys, the short answer is, for this video, that's going to be something that you're going to have to decide on your own. But let's talk about what $18,000 gets you. And it gets you the absolute best image quality for the commercial market on a rifle scope right now. This thing is amazing. I'm so happy that Tyler Adair over there at iRay finally figured out how to take a 1280 core and put it into something that we can go hog hunting with, because the imaging is just the best. Here is the most consistent description that I have gotten about the imaging from this. I'll hand it to somebody who may or may not really have some experience behind thermal, and they will say almost the exact same thing that I did. They'll say, with the other scopes, I can tell you that there are a bunch of leaves on that branch. With this one, I see every leaf on the branches. This thing is amazing. That detail is beautiful. I love it. So this is, like everybody knows, a 1280 resolution core. This is, double basically what a 640 is going to do, but that's double going across. And then on the other side, it's 1024 resolution. So this thing has just over 1.3 million pixels. That is an amazing amount. But golly, I mean, this is what you're getting. And I get it. I just keep talking about how amazing that is. And that's what people feel like after looking through one of these. They're just amazed. I don't know of a better way to describe it, but it is the quality that you would expect and hope it to be. You will not be let down. So let's go into the actual walkthrough review. On the front, you have this metal lens cover. This thing will make some noise out in the field if you're not careful with it, but really what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this thing and put it out of the way, probably off to the side. This does rotate because you're going to want it out of the way of your actual focus over here, and that's usually where I keep mine, is off to the side. You could run it flat down in front of you. It just feels kind of weird to me like that. I just don't do that. I usually run mine off to the side, but this thing does spin all the way around whatever direction you would want it to go. But it does make a little bit of noise because it is a metal lid, so just be aware of that. Going a little bit further back, you've got the focus ring right here. You can go from 5 meters over to infinity. The ring has this fin on it, which is very wonderful to be able to use this and manipulate it in the dark with or without gloves. You just find that fin, you go one way or the other. It's super simple. That fin makes it really nice and easy to smoothly move that over and find where you want it focused at and be able to keep that focus without a whole bunch of having to play back and forth. You can just slowly adjust it because you got a good fin to help you make those micro adjustments on your focus. Like most other iRay products, it has a 4-button layout with the ridges in between this first button and the second, but then the third one is raised up. This is going to be the menu button that's right here on this back 3, and then in front of that is going to be your magnification, which does have picture-in-picture if you want that, or you can just go to a full-size regular shooting. And then the button on the back side is going to be how you toggle between or take picture or video, and then the very front button is going to be the one where you turn it on, put it in standby mode. But I'm not going to go through like what all of the buttons deep do, but all of the quick, easy things that you're going to want to do from the actual shooting position, you can do with these buttons. Very simple, very intuitive. With this raised up middle button, it does make it a whole lot easier to figure out exactly where you are and then reference everything else off of that. So again, great design on your buttons. iRay, keep this up. This is how these should be if you're going to go in the 4-in-a-row button lineup. On the back, you go to the diopter focus. Now, you will also mostly see a soft eyepiece back here. Mine, I've taken off because I wear glasses. It gets in the way. I tore mine off. I was expecting it to just kind of pop off, kind of come off pretty easily. It did not do that. I ended up just ripping mine because I needed to get it off because I don't shoot with those with glasses because it adjusts my glasses on my face and then makes everything really wonky, and I don't like shooting that way. So I'm going to get mine off, but it's not something that if you take off because you're going to rip it, you ain't going to be able to get that thing put back on here like you would think. So again, something else to be aware of, and I'm not mad about that at all. I get it. It's fine. Yes, I do wish that it was removable and replaceable. However, at the same time, since I like to shoot a certain way, it's not really a factor at all. If you go over to the other side, you're going to see this big hole here. That's going to be where their IBP1 battery goes. This is listed to give you 8 hours of runtime, but that's because it has 2 batteries that come in it. So really, each one gives you about 4, and that feels about right. That's, you know, sure, I wish it was longer. You've seen some of these other companies that are making, you know, 7, 8, 10, 15 hours of runtime, and that's wonderful, but they're not trying to run a 1280 core and processor. So 4 hours, man, I'm happy with that. That's great. They give you a spare battery. If you wanted more spares beyond that, they're about $100 each. But 2 batteries is a great idea to throw in for this actual thermal setup. So, and also, if you are using the other thermal devices that they have, for example, if you are using a different Ricoh, or if you're using their Zoom monocular, these all use the exact same batteries, so you can just use the same stash or pop it out of that one if it does die. So these are all interchangeable. That's really nice. iRay, again, thank you for keeping your batteries the same. That is something that does get annoying after a while when everybody uses different batteries. So luckily within their own family, they're sticking with the same rechargeable battery. Thank you very much for doing that. Now, on the other side, you will see this rail here, and this is going to be where you can attach the LRF. So it is LRF compatible. The LRF is not built in. You're going to have to plug it into the side over here. This is the USB-C port where you can either charge your thermal, you can download the pictures or videos off of it, or, like again, you can plug in your LRF. The LRF comes with a quick detach mount, and so you can just easily put this on here, plug it in. There is a calibration that you have to walk through, so that way you're making sure that the LRF is pointed at where your targeting for the LRF is pointed as well, to make sure that you're actually getting accurate ranging distances, and all of that works just great. It's real simple in the user manual. Just follow the steps, you'll be able to figure it out. It's not hard to do at all. And that LRF is rated out to 1,000 yards, and that's about what I've been getting with it. And it's the same LRF that works with the other LRF compatible scopes that they have. So if you did have one of the Ricohs and you wanted to put it on there sometimes as well, you could easily do that. That's no problem at all. On the bottom here, you do have these 2 wing nuts that are how you mount the scope onto the actual rail of your gun. And this mount here, like I talked before in my last video, has these shock absorbers built into it to accept that recoil from your larger caliber rifles, so that way you're not messing with the delicate but still able to handle it internals of the scope. But the way that they were able to get this scope to overcome some of the things that were going to be a concern with this device being a 1280 was going to be the recoil from the rifle, and that's why they have these shock absorbers in here to help mitigate that, so that way you can keep using this just how everybody wants to use it, the way God intended for us to get our critters at night with thermals. Heck yeah, love it. Now, iRay says that this weighs 44.9 ounces, and that is heavy. This is the heaviest thermal scope on the market. However, at the same time, there is a 75 millimeter lens, and you've got this heavy-duty mount that's on the bottom. This is a big, heavy, beefy scope. So if you're looking for a scope that needs to be lightweight, this is not going to meet that criteria. However, at the same time, if you're looking at this, it's because you want that ultra high image quality, not because you're looking at something that's going to be super lightweight. So just realize that this is going to be a brick. When people talk about thermals and bricks, they're usually talking about the shape. This one is the weight. And then coming back to the backside again, this screen that you look at through the eyepiece, this is the biggest screen that I have seen. It is a 2,560 pixel by 2,560 pixel screen. If you've looked through other thermal optics, when you get your eyeball up to this one, you're going to feel like you're looking at a big screen TV, because it is like, wow, there is so much picture here to see, and you're just going to kind of like look around because there's a lot there. It is a big screen. It's beautiful, very crisp, wonderful, wonderful screen that you're looking at back here. Again, great job on this. Now let's talk about the internals. So this has a 2.0 base magnification, which honestly I think was the perfect base magnification for this. Because if you need to magnify up, then you're going to be at 4.0, and that's going to give you 640 resolution. But if you were to start off at a different base mag, so say for example 3, well then 3 can kind of be a little bit too much magnification for hunters who like to get up in and close, and then at the same time you're kind of wasting the fact that you can magnify up so much and still be running either 640 or 320 resolution and still be at a usable magnification. I feel like 2 was the perfect number to go with this. So great decision on that. Wonderful. Thank you again so much. Great call on that. It has a sub 25 millikelvin sensor and runs a 17 pixel pitch. This one does have internal audio and video, and the audio is very crisp, very clear. It's been great. Again, wonderful. They're staying right along the lines of keeping up high quality inside of this. It does have multiple zeros. It does have multiple color palettes, and the detection range is listed at 3,600 yards. Now, finding a place that I can see wildlife at 3,600 yards is a little bit of a struggle for me. However, at the same time, that's just the detection range. I had this out in the hill country. And on our lease, we've got one of the actual hills of the hill country, and I've panned over to a spot and found some cows that were at 830 yards away, and you could easily see, if the angle was right, you could see the tails of the cows swishing at 830 yards. That is some serious identification. Again, this one says the detection range is 3,600. I'm telling you, like, I can easily see a cow's tail swish at 800 yards. So, again, you would expect that out of this, and it delivers. Now, one thing that does, with the numbers, that does feel a little bit off is the fact that the refresh rate is 30 hertz. And that's one of those things that early on in the thermal world, 30 hertz was kind of a more common refresh rate among your budget scopes. And it feels like we got away from that, and we really have. But one of the problems that they had to overcome for this unit was being able to keep it cool. because these 1280s have a serious problem with becoming overheated. And so then the solution for overheating involves some kind of cooling system, which then draws more power and has to be attached to it. Now you got this bigger conglomerate of a thing, and so that just made 1280s too big and impractical for night hunting, for mounting that thing on a rifle. So one of the things that they did was, instead of taking a picture every 60 frames a second, what they did was they slowed it down to every 30 frames a second. Now, I've heard some people say, oh, that you can't tell, it's fine. I can tell. Looking through different scopes that are 50 and 60 hertz refresh rate, looking through a 30, I can tell that it is there. And the only time that it really ever bothers me is if I'm scanning over a large area quickly, which really, this isn't a scanner per se. This is your scope. And I get it, like, well, I'm going to scope. It's $18,000. I get to do whatever I want to with it. You're absolutely right, you quasi-free American. So that's true. Do whatever you want. And I scan with this, but I realize I'll be scanning, and then I'll be like, hang on, let me slow down a little bit, so that way I'm not getting as much of a broken image. And I say broken image, man, it's not bad. But if you are used to scanning with a 50 or 60 hertz refresh rate device, and then you go over to a 50, just slow down a little bit. You're going to be fine. You ain't going to notice any major differences if you slow down. But if you are scanning fast, you will notice a little bit of jumpiness. Okay, Daniel, well, what about whenever you get into a shooting sequence? Man, I have never swung so fast while trying to actively shoot with the scope that has become an issue. So in your normal shooting while panning the rifle, that 30 frame refresh hertz rate is more than enough. It's fine. It is not a problem. I understand that this was one of the things that it took to be able to bring 1280 to reality. Hopefully somebody can figure out how to resolve that issue, because honestly, I would love this in a scanner. I would love a 1280 scanner, so that way I can still get third person or scanning footage from a scanner while using my 1280 scope as a scope. But in a scanner, because you are moving so much more, you are going to wish that you had a higher refresh rate. But guys, this is not a scanner, this is a scope, and this is what it took to bring 1280 to market. So I'm cool with it, I'm fine. Being that this is the first generation of 1280, rock on, I love it. So let's talk about some other things that I don't like about it. Well, again, it's heavy, but I get it. Again, it's a 30 frame refresh hertz rate, but I get it. And again, it's $18,000 before tax, but shipping's free. And so the next question naturally is this the one that I should get? I'm telling you, this is not going to get sold from my personal collection for a long time. This is a great thermal optic, and iRay has that 5-year, 5-day warranty. Within 5 years of your purchase date, they have a 5-day turnaround time to either fix that or get a new one shipped to you. And that is the absolute best warranty in the market, is the 5-year with a 5-day guarantee turnaround. So this is gonna be mine for many, many, many years. Should you get it? Well, if you know the kind of reviews that I do and then follow it up with a different type of video, I imagine that next week's video is going to get pretty spicy, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of this along with some other stuff. So guys, if you decided that you needed another car payment called a thermal scope, this is the one. But get out there, have some fun, and remember, it is always hog season. Bye.